I think it is safe to say I failed us last night. Josh came through with the Kansas City Royals stack, and once again, the pitchers let us down. Let's see if we can turn things around on a Wednesday. Hey, you're watching The Perfect Lineup, where Josh Engleman and myself, really yesterday just Josh Engleman, maybe I can contribute today, try and build the best lineup, take down a tournament, 2 pitchers, 1 stack, and the single lineup sims doing the remainder of the work. Big day slate, smaller main slate, so we're going to dive into all of this. And of course, if you want to get a free week of the MLB sims yourself, that's the great thing. Even if I have a terrible day, maybe Josh comes up empty on the stack, you can still get a free week of the MLB sims and come get some good information along the way. Just leave a comment down below. Let us know who you think the highest scoring stack is going to be tonight. And if you happen to be right, guess what? Free week MLB sims coming your way. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. All right, so shorter slate today, and I mentioned it yesterday, mentioned it at the top today. The Aces have surely done us dirty, done me dirty lately. Maybe Nathan Evaldi can finally stop the bleeding. And honestly, if he can't, I don't know what to tell you, because this is a really good matchup for him. You know, sometimes it's just good spots end up not working out. And if you're trying to get away from chalk today on a 6-gamer, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to do. Sure, you could go to Brian Wu against the Athletics. I actually think, you know, if he comes in way lower owned than Evaldi, just given how good Brian Wu is, that might actually be the best pivot you can find. But I genuinely like this spot for Evaldi. Brian Wu right now in the top pitchers tool, showing only 7% less ownership. So to me, at the time, there's no reason to really get away from what I think is the better spot, because the Angels strike out at the second highest clip against righties on their active roster. They're probably going to have 5 or 6 righties in the lineup tonight too, which is great because Evaldi has a 260 xWOBA against same-handed hitters with a 28% strikeout rate. I'm telling you, it's a very good matchup. Results aside, and we can discuss this tomorrow, it's a good spot. He has allowed 1 home run to righties across 187 batters faced. And the large majority of the Angels' power, well, it comes from the right side of the plate. So, yeah, the guy's thrown 86 and 102 pitches over his last 2 starts. We have nothing to worry about there. 6.5 K props, 17.5 outs props. Looks really good for a guy who is limited base runners as well as anybody else has on the season. So there it is, Nathan Evaldi as our SP1.
The 12 names on this wheel right now were smart enough to join me in taking the Kansas City Royals, the team that ended up being the highest scoring stack. So now one of those 12 people is going to win a week of MLB DFS sims, and all they had to do was be lucky and be one of 12. They had to be lucky enough to be Bobby Linning 2348. If this is you, take a screenshot of this video, send it in to support@stokastic.com, claim your free week.
This is where it gets a little tough, a little ugly, even though SP2 hasn't been all that bad to us recently. As a matter of fact, we've had some dominant 30-plus DK point performances over the last week from these exact types of pitchers. Sometimes it feels ugly, and today you're going to have a difficult time getting away from anything that doesn't feel a little bit gross. I expect Jose Soriano to get, you know, plenty of love on the other side of that Nathan Evaldi game. I also think Kyle Freeland doesn't look all that crazy against the Guardian squad that's been really bad against lefties all season long. But I'm going to go Will Warren here. Again, we'll talk about whether or not you want to get to Warren or Soriano. I don't think there's much that differentiates them. But through 51 innings pitched at home this year, Warren has a 3.5 xFIP. Very solid. 28% K rate. Also very solid. And he's allowing less than a home run per 9. So sub 8K price point looks good for everything there. Tampa Bay's a middle-of-the-road matchup, right? Strikeouts, WOBA, WRC plus against righties here. And on the road where they haven't fared nearly as well as they have at George Steinbrenner Field. But he's, look, 4th in top 2 pitcher probability, 3rd in value on the Stokastic top pitchers tool. We'll take that. And I got almost 50% of him in my first Sims run. The only 2 players I got more of were Nathan Evaldi and Jose Soriano. So really at SP2, it's Warren or Soriano for me. I don't think there's much to separate them at all. Honestly, similar ownership, top 2 pitcher probabilities almost identical, and the opposing team total is the same exact thing. So pick your poison here. Jose Soriano or will Warren? We'll plug Warren into the single lineup sims and let Josh get to work here with the stack.
All right, I'm feeling pretty good here. I think we're going to build some momentum because yesterday we got it right. The Kansas City Royals were the highest scoring stack on yesterday's main slate. And I want to go back to back. And to go back to back, we are going to take the St. Louis Cardinals. They are 6th in top stack, 3rd in top value. We're going to have a lot of additional salary to go around. They're 5th in stack score, 3rd in ownership, which might make you think they're a little over-owned, but I'm not stressing this ownership at all. It's somewhere in the 7% aggregate range. Not at all important to me. Not too high. This isn't like a core slate. And we've got a great matchup against Cal Quantrill. He has been struggling a bit to get righties out. 225 x ISO. That is about as big as you're going to see for anybody that gets to keep starting. 386 x WOBA. Just an 8% swinging strike rate and a 13.5% K rate. Righties have been just crushing him so far this season. Now, we don't have the most illustrious group of righties coming from the Cardinals. You've got multiple catcher options, whether it's Herrera, whether it's my boy Pages. I just can't say that any other way. You can go first base and grab Contreras. You can go cheap in the outfield and grab Walker. You've got Wynn in at short. They don't have a ton of power. What we really do is get power from the left side, which doesn't help us as much here, but we're getting much better batters in overall quality in Donovan and in Burleson. But this is a Cardinals team that just hasn't profiled with a lot of power. But there is more power from the right side than the left side in this park, and I think that'll help. Now, the Cardinals are near the bottom in ISO against righties. They're near the bottom in ISO when they're playing at home. But their WRC plus lives in the middle. They're an average team in both of those criteria. So while they might not be always getting it done with homers, they have been a good enough offense. And I think this matchup against Quantrill raises the bar a little bit for us. So let's build this lineup out using the single lineup simulator at Stokastic.com. Laffy was kind enough to give us Evaldi and Will Warren, one expensive, one relatively cheap for the day. And for the Cardinals, I landed on Herrera, Contreras, Donovan, Mason Wynn, and Jordan Walker. So we need a third baseman and 2 outfielders, and we have $4,200 to spend in each position. That's a lot of additional salary. I fully expect these 3 guys to look like really nice bats, and we'll find out who they are by clicking complete this lineup. Now, I was hoping to get at least a 2-man here, but you can manipulate that if you want. But we went third base with Josh Smith. We got Angel Martinez and Julio Rodriguez in as the 2 outfield spots. Julio Rodriguez pulling a little bit of ownership. I don't think that's going to matter too much on the size of this slate. I think we've got a really powerful lineup here with great value from the stack. But I can think whatever I want. We got to find out if it's any good by clicking Run Lineup Simulation. And you're not going to get a single complaint out of me. 31% sim ROI, 0.2% chance at the win, 1.5% top 10, and a 32% cash rate. But we have plenty of different options. You can move those Cardinals bats around very easily. You could even conceivably get off of Evaldi, pay down a little bit more, and have infinite money for your stack. But I got the top stack right yesterday, and I think I got the perfect lineup today.